Good morning, or should I say good evening, good afternoon. This time changes kind of got me all kinds of messed up, but today we're going to talk about constitutional carry, specifically in the state of Texas. I know there's a whole lot of you that have questions. Some of you guys already know all the ins and outs of constitutional carry, and some of you don't even like the term constitutional carry because you think um, that there are way too many restrictions in the state. But there may be some confusion as to what is allowed and what isn't allowed while carrying a handgun in the state of Texas. And I know there's some of you that may not even agree with constitutional carry to begin with. So I know there's people that follow this channel, or if you're on Facebook, this page, that disagree with the constitutional carry laws of the state, and who, on the other hand, think that the restrictions are still too much to be considered constitutional carry. But either way, we're going to talk about it a bit, right? And we're gonna see exactly what the problems are. We're going to discuss what the problems are, how we can make them better, how we can address issues on both sides, and we're going to try to give you some information that way you can go out there and you can carry without any hesitation, without any worry of getting in trouble, and or without making a mistake thinking that you're doing something right when in reality it's not right. So constitutional carry in the state of Texas, what is it that you can do? So where is it that you can find the constitutional carry law? Double O, good afternoon. So what is constitutional carry? Two folks on YouTube asking. So in the state of Texas, it's been maybe 3 years now, since September 2021, that the state changed some laws. So before September 1st, 2021, you needed to obtain a license to carry in order to carry a handgun in public in the state of Texas. But that has changed now. You don't need that anymore if you are 21 years of age or over. Yeah, I understand and I know that a federal judge struck down parts of Texas prohibition on people under the age of 21 from carrying a handgun. But the truth is that they did not change their laws. So the only thing that they changed, because prior to the judge's ruling, the state of Texas still prohibited people under the age of 21 from applying for a license to carry or obtaining a license to carry unless they fit under certain special categories, like they were active military veteran, victims of family violence, so something like that. If they fell under those categories, then they would be able to apply for a license to carry in the state of Texas if they were under 21. But since that judge struck down that part of the law, now there is no prohibition on people under the age of 21 from obtaining a license to carry. The thing is that the way that the law is written in section 4602 of the Texas Penal Code, it states that somebody under the age of 21 would be in violation of the law if they are not in their own vehicle, and they do not have a license. So people under the age of 21 still need a license to carry in the state of Texas if they want to carry out in public. I know some people may disagree with that. And if you do disagree with that, feel free to let us know. Tell us what you think. Tell us why you think that, where you heard the information from, and that way we can put the correct information out to the public, because that's one of the main purposes, or one of the main goals to this page, this channel, is that we give people as much information as they can. That way they can go out and make educated decisions concerning their safety or the safety of their family, right? Because we don't believe that you should have any restrictions as to what it is that you do when it comes to defending your family. Because if something's happening to you, it's happening to you, and you're the person that is in a perfect position to do something about it. So let's continue, right? Um, so somebody that is 21 years of age or over, I'm going to start off with that demographic first. 21 years of age or over can carry in the state of Texas in public without a license to carry. Does not matter if they are not a resident of the state of Texas. So as long as they're a legal resident in the state of Texas, um, resident of the U.S., without any federal prohibitions, because there's some people that are here legally that are foreign nationals that cannot possess a firearm. But there are some who are legal residents in the state of Texas who can possess a firearm. If you are not here legally, you cannot possess a firearm under federal law. It doesn't matter how old you are. So if you are here, even from another state, you're here legally, you're a resident of the U.S., you're a citizen of the U.S., you can carry a firearm in public in Texas, 21 years of age or over. Now, if you have a license to carry or equivalent from another state, you can carry in this state through the reciprocity agreement, if there is a reciprocity agreement between this state and that state. So later on, you have a question about, hey, where can I find the reciprocity information? I will look that up for you, and I will provide that to you either on this thread here, whether it's during this video or after the video. I'll find it for you and I'll let you know. That way you can look up every state in the union and you can see exactly what states recognize the Texas license to carry, because not all states are constitutional carry. There are a few more that have been added to the constitutional carry list, like Louisiana will soon be another state added to that, but not every state in the union is a constitutional carry state. So they may recognize our license if you have one. But back to Texas, if you are here legally, you can carry 21 years of age or over, unless you are a prohibited person. Prohibited people are felons or people who have been convicted of a family violence offense. If you have that kind of conviction, family violence offense, you'll never be able to carry a firearm in public ever in any state. Well, at least federally. In the state of Texas, it will be unlawful federally and under state law to carry a firearm in the state of Texas if you have a family violence conviction. Class A or above. If you have a Class C family violence conviction, that may not inhibit you from carrying a firearm in the state of Texas, but it will prohibit you from becoming a peace officer, quite possibly, or more than likely, it will prohibit you from becoming a peace officer due to some recent changes. And it will probably prohibit you from getting a license to carry. So, felony conviction, family violence conviction. Now, there's another list of prohibited persons that cannot carry in the state of Texas for a while under constitutional carry. So, if you've been convicted of something, say a terroristic threat, you threaten to harm somebody else, of an assault, of deadly conduct, like a drive-by or shooting towards a structure where you don't know whether there's people in there or not. Disorderly conduct involving a firearm. So you displayed a firearm in a public place unlawfully, or you shot a firearm in a public place unlawfully. If you've done any of those things, it's within, I want to say 3 years, but I think it may be 5 years from the date of conviction or from the date of the offense that you cannot carry a firearm. And you can find that under Texas Penal Code 4602, Texas Penal Code 4602. If you want to break it down a little bit or you want to look it up yourself, it is on there. So if you have those convictions, you cannot carry under constitutional carry, no matter how old you are. You don't have to be 21 years of age or over. Let me see. Getting a few. Yes, South Texas Farms Training, dps.texas.gov. Thank you so very much for that. If you could put the link on there, I would appreciate it, because it's kind of hard for me to do that while I'm doing this. But if you could put the link to the reciprocity map, I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. So yeah, it lists every single state in the union. So Tavo, hopefully he will post that up for you. Just keep in mind, when you're carrying in another state, you need to follow the laws of that state. Some of the states are going to be, some other states are going to have laws that are very similar to that of Texas, but not every state are going to have the laws that are the same. So it may be similar, but it may not be the same. So you may have to do a little bit of homework before you travel outside the state. Now, also say you're just going to pass through the corner of a state that you're not even going to go to that state. Your destination is another state, but you need to drive past that state. You may want to know what the laws are in that state. Lord forbid that you get pulled over just passing through, and it's unlawful for you to have a magazine with a capacity greater than 10. And now you have a felony conviction in the state, and that's going to affect your ability to carry in this state. So, so just do a little homework before you decide to travel. Now, another thing about constitutional carry is the way that you carry. You don't need a holster. I highly recommend that you have a holster, but that is not the point, right? You don't need a holster. I highly recommend you have a holster if you are carrying concealed. So as long as it is not, um, it cannot be seen or viewed or noticed through the ordinary observation of a reasonable person, you're going to be perfectly fine. If they can tell what it is, technically, in my opinion, it does not meet that definition of a concealed. Uh, Concealed would be not readily discernible by the ordinary observation of a reasonable person, something like that. So you can obviously tell just because it's covered, but you can tell that it's a handgun. It may not fit the definition of concealed. So if it is concealed, you don't need a holster at all. But if it is carried openly, it's in plain view, somebody can see it, it must be carried in a holster. So there's a little confusion when it comes to that terminology, carried in a holster, because if you're in your vehicle and it's not on your person, is it being carried? So there is going to be some room for interpretation when it comes to that, especially a law enforcement officer pulls you over, you have the gun on your passenger seat, and it's not in a holster. Well, that if it's in plain view, plain sight, that is already a violation of 4602 of the Penal Code. But in my professional opinion, if a law enforcement officer arrests you for that, for having a handgun in plain view in your seat, the guy's just being an absolute jerk. So can he do it? Yeah, possibly, but he's being an absolute jerk. I highly recommend that you look into U.S. Law Shield. Um, and a shout out to U.S. Law Shield, because even though they do not financially support this, what I'm doing here, they do financially support us in some other projects. So we're really grateful for that, because that does allow us to put some effort into some of the stuff that we do. So a huge shout out to U.S. Law Shield. Thank you so very much. Greatly appreciate you guys. But if you do get in trouble, you have an attorney. They'll be able to fight it for you. U.S. Law Shield will provide an attorney to you 20 or for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as you're a member, and no at no additional cost. So if you want to look into it, look into that. Use promo code Primal Def. That would also help me out a little bit if you do that. But back to the traffic stop. A law enforcement officer pulls you over. It's on your passenger seat. It's in plain view. That is technically in violation of 4602 of the Penal Code. But again, that is I got to be careful what I say. I don't want to violate any community policies, but that is a sack of manure, right? If they arrest you for something like that, but they can. But if it's in a holster, technically it would be carried in a holster. So if it's in plain view, even on your passenger seat, stuck in between your seats, but they can look in through the window and see it, it's plain view. Cup holder, plain view. On a magnetic mount on your dash that can be seen uh, easily through the window, that would be considered plain view. But if it's in a holster, it does not. It's not violation of 4602. So I highly recommend that if it's in plain view, it's in a holster. If it's not in plain view, you don't need a holster, but I recommend that you have it in a holster anyway if you have it on your body. I recommend you have it on your body when you're driving anyway. But I know some of us, it's a little difficult for us to have it on our body. It's uncomfortable. There's actually a story somewhere where a dude was doing a U-turn. I don't know what holster he had, but he hit his gun and it went off. It struck him somewhere in the groin. He crashed and he bled out before first responders even got to him. So you need to be a little bit careful as to what kind of holster you have, what kind of firearm you have, and make sure that is a dependable firearm, and it's not well known for just going off. So but also, holsters have a lot to do with it. If you tuck in your shirt into that holster when you holster your gun, has a lot to do with it as well. Now, if you have a license to carry, um, and you are under the age of 21, you can do everything that a person 21 years of age or over can do with that firearm. You can take it to all the same places. You can carry it in the same way. Now, with a license to carry or not, doesn't matter if you're 18 or over, 17 technically in the state of Texas. Doesn't matter if you're 18 or over, no license, you can carry the gun on your person while you're driving your vehicle. I know some people don't think that you can do that, but you can do that. Let me see. Do you do any good examples of someone that used deadly force and was found not guilty? Yeah, there's plenty. There are plenty of cases where people use deadly force and were found not guilty. As a matter of fact, a lot of them aren't even convicted. If well, most shootings are probably going to go through. um, what is it called? Grand jury in the state of Texas anyway, especially if a death resulted from that shooting, is going to go through a grand jury, and the grand jury is going to decide whether, you know what, there's probable cause, or they're going to decide whether to indict you or not, meaning that you're going to have to go through trial. But there's a lot of shootings that don't even make it that far because they were 100% completely justified. So if we go to chapter 9 of the penal code, which is something that I wanted to get into next week, chapter 9 of the penal code, it talks about all the things, um, or all the instances and situations where you would be justified in using force against somebody else. And it talks about all force from the very bare minimum level of force all the way up to deadly force. So very, very good chapter. Depending on how this goes today, I want to get into that next week. Maybe I'll get into that now. I really don't know. But I'm going to try to get into a little bit more of the constitutional carry stuff first before I do that. But thank you very much for your question. Um, I'm going to try to get into that in a little bit. South Texas Farms Training says Ezekiel Gilbert case law, San Antonio area. I'm not familiar with that case. So, is weapon confiscated at a time of shooting? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is. So you get into a shooting, your firearm's going to be confiscated from you because it is now evidence. They even do that to law enforcement officers that get into a shooting. They still take their duty weapon, and it is inputted into evidence, even if it's a justified shooting, even if it's an apparent justified shooting right off the bat. It is still input into evidence because they need to determine that it was, in fact. Well, there may be some people that can't see the comments, so I'm gonna try to put the comments up. So yeah, they will confiscate it. If you were found to have not done anything wrong, they have to give it back to you. So just remember that. You can grab it, put a notch on there, but it probably won't look good if you get into another shooting that you're keeping score. So who's this? Can I constitutionally carry at a Stripes convenience store? Absolutely, you can. They some of these stores have these old blue signs, the old TABC blue sign that states, and you'll still see it on some restaurants and some signs. It states the unlicensed possession of a firearm is a felony and subject to fine of $10,000 or more, or something like that. Well, if we look at the constitutional carry bill, HB 1927, at the very bottom of the bill, if you look it up, you can go to Legiscan, look up the most current uh, version of the bill or the one that was passed, and at the very bottom, it'll tell you what laws were removed from the law. And one of those was the requirement to put, or one of those was the laws that made that TABC blue sign that says that it's unlawful for you to possess a firearm without a license in a store that sells alcohol. But that is no longer the case. You can carry in constitutionally into a Stripes if you want to, unless they put a legitimate no trespass sign, no trespass by somebody carrying a firearm. And I'm going to try to get into those in a little bit because that's part of the constitutional carry stuff. But you can. And I have not been to any Stripes at all that has a no firearms allowed sign. 2009 Christmas Eve used deadly force during the night to prevent theft. Yep. So that is actually Texas Penal Code 9.42, deadly force to defend property. So yeah, you can, but just to be a little careful as to how you do that. But you do you, right? It may not be extremely comfortable for you. Hello, Gloria. Nice to see you here. It may not be too comfortable for you to use deadly force. I don't want to discourage you from using deadly force, but let me just give you this example. You have a lawnmower that really sucks. It's a horrible lawnmower. Hey, can you guys hear me well? Good enough? By the way, somebody can just tell me that, yeah, the audio is good. If it's not, let me know. I'll adjust it. But say you have a lawnmower. It's already an old lawnmower. You're trying to cut your grass. You hit a clump of grass. It turns off on you. It's a piece of junk. It's a piece of crap. You hate it. If you try to sell it at the pawn shop, maybe they'd give you $15 for it. Now you catch a dude in the middle of the night taking that lawnmower from you and you shoot him. It is probably going to cost you way more defending yourself, or the stress of going through that shooting, your family being afraid of somebody trying to get back at you. That wouldn't be, it wouldn't have been worth that shooting. I'm not telling you to be a victim. I'm not advocating that you be a victim. I just want you to understand that if you use force for certain things, you may regret it at the end. But you do you. Hey, thanks guys for letting me know about the audio. The blue signs are no longer valid as of Texas permitless carry law. Exactly correct. South Texas Farms Training knows exactly what they're saying. They are no longer valid. Um, Now, the TABC 51% signs are still valid. So whether you have a license or not, you go up to an establishment, they have a 51% sign posted at the entrance. You cannot go in there. That means that that business sells, that makes more of their money from the sale of alcohol for on-site consumption, which are bars. I know you'll go to Applebee's, or you'll go to what's one of the other restaurants that has a little bar in there, Chili's. They'll have a 51% sign posted at the bar. Say you want to go to the restroom, you're going to pass by the bar. Don't go to the bar. But technically, they shouldn't have a 51% sign because Chili's, Applebee's does not make most of their money from the sale of alcohol for on-site consumption. So, um, but other than that, like bars, you can't go in there whether you have a license or not. And FYI, when it comes to federal buildings, a federal judge, just struck down the prohibition on carrying a firearm inside post offices. So, um, there was a prohibition on carrying a firearm in post offices. And I believe it was struck down. I need to get more information on that for you guys. So I just went to the post office the other day. They still had a little "no guns allowed" sign. Under federal law, that's good enough. Under state law, it's not good enough. So only a federal officer would be able to arrest you for that. My understanding is it's no longer valid. But where was I? Um, Holsters, 21 years of age, carrying in your vehicle. That's that. That is that on that. So now let's get into the no trespass signs. So there are 3 no trespass signs in the state of Texas. One is a sign that has existed for it's a law that has existed in the state of Texas for a very, very long time. Texas Penal Code 30.05. That is a trespass. So they added a subsection to that trespass that specifically states that the reason why they don't want you on the property is the whole purpose, or the whole reason, is that you have a firearm on you, right? Technically, that sign applies to people that do not have a license only, because there is a defense to that states that the person who violated the notice had a license to carry and was carrying a handgun, either concealed or in a holster. Just keep in mind that if somebody ever tells you on property, hey, you know what, you have a gun on you, we don't want you here. It does not matter if you have a license or you don't have a license, or if you're an off-duty law enforcement officer, uh, you're going to have to leave under 3005. But technically, there are any cops on here, which I doubt. Businesses are prohibited from denying service to law enforcement, whether they're on duty or not. But that's a whole different story. Uh, so 3005 technically applies to people that do not have a license only. So you'll see that at HEB. All the HEBs that I've been to have the 3005 sign. And that is, they have the 3005 sign and 3007 sign. So I'll get to the 3007 sign in a little bit. So 3005, the verbiage needs to be identical to what the law says, or substantially similar to what the law says. It can tweak it around a little bit by saying that they don't want people without a license. They don't want people open carrying. They don't want people concealed carrying on the property, or they don't want people carrying, period, on the property. They can say those things on that sign, but again, only applies to people without a license. The 3006 sign specifically applies to people with a license. It'll even tell you, pursuant to subsection or section 411, whatever government code, a person licensed to carry a handgun may not enter the property with a concealed handgun. So the 3006 sign tells you they don't want you in there with a concealed handgun. 3007 sign says they don't want you in there with an openly carried handgun. So 2 signs, those apply to license to carry holders only, right? Does not apply to somebody that does not have a license to carry. I know it's kind of asked backwards, but that's how it is. If you see all those 3 signs posted, it means they don't want anybody carrying in there. But I'll tell you what, if you violate that notice, it is a Class C misdemeanor. Class C misdemeanor, it's a citation, no big deal. They're just going to give you a ticket. Maybe they'll arrest you, just like they can arrest you for running a stop sign, right? Maybe they'll arrest you, but probably not. Now, keep in mind, this is very, very important for you to know. If you violate one of those notices, but somebody comes up to you and they tell you, they give you a notice by some other means, either a verbal notice or they come and they point it out to you like, hey, dude, look at this, and you leave, they can no longer even give you a citation anymore. Not only can they not arrest you, but they can't give you a citation if you leave. So, my opinion is worth the risk of me going in there anyway and somebody bringing it to my attention, me leaving, and me not getting in any trouble at all because I can't. But if they do bring it to your attention, other than the notice that is legally posted, if they bring it to your attention, they say, "Hey, man, I don't want you here. You have a handgun." Doesn't matter what sign it is, but they give you a verbal notice or something like that. It is now a Class A misdemeanor if you refuse to go, and they're going to arrest you for that. So, um, just be cool, be calm. If they don't want you there, just leave. Simple as that. Go take your money somewhere else. There are plenty of businesses that will accept your money. Speaking on businesses that accept your money, I'd like to give a shout out to Papas y Papas and Safe Ride Driving Academy. Those places have supported us enormously. Some of the stuff that we've done for the public, a lot of the free trainings that we've done, especially for the educators, we put over 100 educators through some of our training. It is because of them. If it was not for Papas y Papas Safe Ride Driving Academy, we would not have been able to do that. So if somebody can tag Papas y Papas Safe Ride Driving Academy, I would really appreciate it. Anybody who watches this, I would greatly appreciate if you follow them. Really good people, strong supporters of the Second Amendment, strong supporters of your ability or your right to defend yourself. And we need to support those businesses because if not, then we're going to have more businesses that don't support your right to carry. So now, what else? Somebody give me another part of constitutional carry, a question that you may have regarding constitutional carry. Um, but let me think a little bit because I kind of lost train of thought. So let me see. I don't know. That's it. I think that was it. I don't know. You guys have anything else for me? Did I cover everything that you think I could have covered regarding constitutional carry? What's with the people that carry rifles? Hotels. Lyle Smith, that's a good one. I'll get to that in a little bit. What's with the people that carry rifles around and have LEO make contact with them? Look, I understand LEOs make contact with them, right? But there is no now there is no law that says you can carry other than the Second Amendment. Other than the Second Amendment, literally, there is no law that prohibits you from carrying a rifle in public, other than disorderly conduct, where it states that you are carrying a firearm in a manner calculated to cause alarm. So there is an argument there or a discussion there, calculated to cause alarm, because there are people out there that hate guns, don't understand guns, that see a gun in public and are automatically alarmed. But just because somebody is alarmed does not mean that it is a violation of the law, right? So we have to go to guys who are familiar with, or people who are familiar with carrying a firearm, what the normal way of carrying a firearm is, to determine what is a manner calculated to cause alarm. So say you go into a public place with a rifle slung, normal way of carrying a rifle. I know that, you may know that, but there may be some people that see that and will be automatically alarmed. So because people are alarmed, law enforcement are going to be called. But what people are doing makes should determine how law enforcement respond. So a lot of the videos that I've seen, law enforcement, they're usually okay. A few guys get a little out of line, but so do some people carrying openly, right? It goes both ways. But you can carry openly. You can carry a rifle openly. There's no law that prohibits it, as long as it is not in a manner calculated to cause alarm, like in a low ready position. You're in public, low ready position, that's not slung over your shoulder. low ready position looks like you're getting ready to do some work, I would be alarmed. I would have red flags up if I saw somebody in a low ready position in a public place. So, but you need to look at the climate nowadays as well. So, imagine it comes out on the news, some dude with a rifle in a parking lot at some shopping center gets tagged by some other average Joe. Are they going to convict him of anything, even though he made a mistake? That is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Considering the climate that we're in today, right? People are edgy. Will will that person be convicted? So that's just something to think about. Let me see. Hotels. So if you are renting a hotel in the state of Texas, you can carry your firearm in that room, right? You can carry to the room, to your vehicle, in the parking lot. You're just not supposed to be able to walk around the hotel um, if they don't want you to. But since the laws have changed, all the hotels that I've been to, none of them have any notices. So they legally cannot prohibit you, even if they have signs posted up front, they legally cannot prohibit you from going to your room, having it in your room, going back to your vehicle, from your vehicle to your room, having anything in your vehicle. They can't prohibit you from doing that. So technically, those signs apply to people who are not guests or guests of guests. So you're staying there, or somebody's visiting you there at the hotel room. They can't prohibit those people from carrying a firearm. Open carry at public parks. Parks now, government code 411.209, I think. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's 411.209. Um, it's like the unlawful prohibition. So, a government entity from the state, not federally, that's a completely different animal. From the state, county, city, they legally cannot prohibit a license holder from carrying on government property unless they are a prohibited place. That is something I did not get to. So that is something that I'll do right now. Unless it is a prohibited place, like a jail or a courtroom, right? They can prohibit you from those places. But if it's not in the list of prohibited places, they cannot prohibit a license holder from carrying on the property. From what I've been able to see, I have not seen any park that prohibits you from carrying at a park. Any park, not even federal parks, have I seen prohibit you from carrying um, a firearm just inside some of their buildings. But they are federal buildings, completely different animal. So park, you can carry a park. I'm not a huge fan of open carry, by the way. I'm not saying I dislike it, but I just prefer to conceal carry. But you do you, right? Everybody has their different thing. If I go to stock show, I'm probably going to open carry, with my boots and my hat, just so people can look at me. But you can open carry in public parks in the state of Texas. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should open carry. That is exactly correct. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Only because it's dangerous now, mostly. But if people group up, they form a group, they let people know, hey, we're going to be doing this thing. It's all good. It's all good. What do you think about farm insurance? Um, I work with U.S. Law Shield. They've treated me well. I haven't had any issues with them. If you have, you can let us know. But I'm sure you can have issues with anybody, right? USCCA, any other place that provides a service. But U.S. Law Shield, they're advancing, they're getting better, they're always trying to improve, and I have not had any issues with them. I highly recommend that you look towards them, and then you make a decision based off of whatever it is that you saw, whether it fits your needs. Hotels, the same for Airbnbs. I could only assume so because they are renting you that place, that accommodation. They're renting it to you. So the old law stated that it was a class A misdemeanor for a hotel, or a class B misdemeanor, something like that, for a hotel to not tell you upon making a reservation online or over the phone that they prohibited handguns or firearms in the facility. Right? It was unlawful for them to not tell you, but now they can't prohibit you. So I'd have to revisit that law again just to make sure that it is what it is. But my understanding is that, yeah, it's probably going to be the same thing as hotels. They're not going to be able to prohibit you. self-defense program. So yeah, U.S. Law Shield is legal defense for self-defense. So look into them if it's something that concerns you, which it should be something that concerns all of us, right? I have U.S. Law Shield myself. Um, because you just never know. I carry a gun because I never know, right? Um, it might come in handy, right? We have health insurance because we never know. We have vehicle insurance because we never know, and because we don't want DPS to pull us over and give us that ticket. You're not going to get in trouble for not having any legal program for carrying a handgun, but you don't want to use it and then need them because it's going to be costly. It's going to cost a whole lot. So let me get into prohibited places real quick. There, it's like under 4603 of the Penal Code, prohibited places. So schools, public schools. I have a video on YouTube somewhere that talks about public schools that really breaks it down. I did a lot of research for that video there. I don't think it got enough traction, but anyway, um, you cannot carry on the physical premises of the school. By definition, premises means building or portion of a building. So technically, you can be in the parking lot. But second part of that law says that any grounds where a school sponsored event is being taken place. So according to an AG opinion, dismissal can be considered a school sponsored event. So if there's something going on in the parking lot, can't go onto the parking lot, or the grounds that you're going to go onto can't go onto those grounds. Other prohibited places, hospitals. There's a whole list of hospitals and nursing homes, amusement parks, but there are no amusement parks in the RGV that match or that meet all the elements. So maybe like San Antonio, SeaWorld, Six Flags, stuff like that. Yeah, those would apply uh, because they have a controlled access or larger than 75 acres, open 120 days of the year. A whole list of things that they need in order to meet the requirements of that law. So there's some amusement parks, um, meeting of government court, meeting a government entity. So city hall, but city hall they need to give you a notice not to enter. So if they don't give you the notice, you can go on in there. Jails, obviously, you can't go into jails. Within 1,000 feet of a Texas Department of Criminal Justice place of execution, so like Huntsville, on the day of execution, can't go within 1,000 feet of that place with a firearm. Um, courtroom, can't go into a courtroom without permission. So those are prohibited places, and bars, can't go into bars. That is a prohibited place. That is a felony. Go into a 51% location with or without a license, you're going to get yourself in trouble unless you are a law enforcement officer. You're still exempt. But other than that, those are the prohibited places. You can't go into them. Churches used to be on that. They're no longer on there. But if they have a notice at the door not to enter, they're just like any other business. Just don't go in there. Self-defense pro. I remember you carried a rifle fishing. Yeah, you can do that. You can carry a rifle fishing. So there is another section on the Texas Penal Code, Chapter 46, which is all about weapons. 4615. Now, a whole lot of people don't know about this subsection. 4615 is titled non-applicability. It tells you what laws do not apply to you if you're doing or you're holding certain positions. If you're doing certain things, engage in certain activities, or you hold certain positions, like some type of first responder, military, stuff like that. But on there, one of those things is if you're engaged in hunting or fishing, certain circumstances of hunting and fishing, that 4602 does not apply to you. So that chapter, they cannot get you to it if you're engaged in those activities. So just keep that in mind. So read it up, look it up. It's pretty good. You can carry a rifle, you can carry a pistol under 4615 with or without a license in public, even if you're under the age of 21. As long as you're engaged in that activity, you're perfectly fine. So I really don't know what else I can give you guys for today, unless I have any more questions. But I hope I answered some questions. Let me just give it a few minutes just to see if there's anybody else that has any other questions. But I really appreciate all you guys for joining in. This is the first live that we have done in a very, very, very long time. It's the first live that I've done on my own. And I think it's something that I want to do a little bit more often. So I don't want to blow. I don't want to do everything all at once, right? But I do want to get into the use of force, Chapter 9 of the Penal Code. But I want to talk about that next Tuesday. I'm going to try to be on here every Tuesday for as long as I can, as long as I have something to talk about. Um, But other than that, really appreciate you guys. It is because of you that I continue to do what I'm doing, or else I would have stopped a long time ago. So, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to us. If you wish to support us in any way, you can. Let me see if I can find this here. You can. This is how you can help us if you wish to help us. You can go over to our page. You can click on those little three dots there. You go to invite friends. You see that right there. Click on that. And you can see your list of friends. And you can either select all right up on top, or you can go through your list of friends and you can select the ones that you think would benefit from the things that I talk about here, or the things that we do, would like range day, would like any of those things. And you can invite them to like the page. I think some of my stuff has been suppressed a little bit within the past few weeks or so. They haven't been too happy with some of the things that I posted, even though I haven't done anything wrong, I haven't violated any rules. As a matter of fact, it says, hey man, you haven't violated any rules, but some of my stuff has still been suppressed. But if you could invite some people, I would really, really, really appreciate that. It would help us out a whole lot. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you could share our channel, you could subscribe, you could follow. It would really, really help us out a whole lot. We're trying to do more stuff, more stuff, more stuff, but we need a little bit of input from you guys to let us know, hey, this is what we want to see, this is what we want to hear. So that way I can do that. I can do that for you. Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff here. Great format and educational. Thank you very much, EM. I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you. Active duty military can get LTC at 18, correct? As a matter of fact, everybody can get an LTC at 18 now. As a matter of fact, you can carry a pistol in your vehicle at the age of 17. So, federally, the minimum age to possess a pistol is 18 years of age. State of Texas, minimum age to possess a pistol without adult supervision is 17. Although there's a little bit of a nuance when it comes to the transfer. Excuse me. You can't just transfer a pistol to somebody 17 years of age without their guardian's consent. Written consent, not verbal consent, written consent. But a 17-year-old can possess it. But anybody under the age of 21, between 18 and 21, they can apply for a license to carry. No big deal. They don't have to. They don't have to be 18. Although, if they're active duty military, the license to carry is free. I still, it's still okay that you get a license to carry anyway. Like say you go to an FFL dealer, the transfer really quick, really easy, really fast. And some dealers, including myself, if you've ever been here before, including some dealers will give you a discount when you purchase certain items or products if you have a license to carry, only because the transfers are so much easier. So just keep that in mind. Is there a limit of how many firearms you can have in a vehicle while driving? Nope. There's no limit as to how many firearms you can have, whether you have a license to carry or not. So no limit as to how many firearms you would have. Texas Attorney General suing Texas State Fair for denying off-duty LEO from entering the fairgrounds with sidearms. Yep, just like I said earlier, a business in the state of Texas cannot prohibit a law enforcement officer. They cannot deny them service just because they have a firearm. They can't do it. Active duty 18-year-old buy pistol. No, they can, but they cannot. So it's kind of weird. Federal law, at the age of 18, you can possess a pistol, but you cannot purchase one through an FFL dealer, which is kind of ass backwards if you ask me. But you can buy it through a private sale. Instead of Texas, there's private sales. You can do that, perfectly legal, and you can do it that way. Just think of it this way: the federal government gives 18-year-olds firearms all the time when they hire them as agents. So security guards in the state of Texas, they can be licensed to carry a firearm while executing their duties. So an 18-year-old can buy a pistol. They just can't buy it through an FFL dealer. And just be careful if you are 21 or over and you buy a pistol for somebody that is 18 years of age that can legally possess a pistol but couldn't buy it from them. There's going to be a straw purchase. You might get yourself in trouble. Just have them go to some other place or just figure it out. Maybe not on this live stream. We can't really talk about that. But if you have any questions, just give us a call, send us a message, and we'll try to help you out. LTC is the best. I love having it. It works well. It's good. I have one, and I'm not gonna let mine go. Uh, Probably not ever. So, um, $42 every 5 years. I mean, you don't need it, but some people get denied or delayed when purchasing a firearm. With the LTC, you don't. That doesn't happen. So you just go ahead and transfer it, and it's no big deal. So I can give my 18-year-old son a pistol. He is active duty, even if he was not. Well, first, thank you. Tell your son thank you for his service. Appreciate appreciate your boy, and you can gift him a firearm if you wanted to. But it is not because he is active duty. Even if he was not an active duty or member of the military, you'd be able to do that anyway, legally, without an issue. um, yeah, I'm sorry. Some of you guys have no idea what I'm responding to, but there it is. A double O. Thank you so very much. Um, Lyle Smith. I really appreciate all you guys. So, um, we do have range day coming up this weekend. If you're going to attend, it's probably going to be full. Looking to have another 2 events this year. Not range day. We're probably going to have a few more range days throughout the year, but looking to have one semi large event and one really, really large event in Los Ebanos, Texas. So, really looking forward to that. Um, really appreciate all you folks. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you. And if you guys have no more questions for me for today, I think that's going to be it. But remember, next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, same time, we're going to be going over use of force. And if any of you want to come on here and have a discussion with me, I would like to have you here. I know there's some people that have things that they want to say. Even if they want to disagree with some of the things that I say, that's perfectly fine. I'm all for having discourse. That way, the people can hear and see and understand and try to understand differences of opinions. Um, South Texas Farms Training appreciate you so very much. You have yourself a wonderful night. Thank you so very much. Appreciate the support, and I'll be supporting you as well. So Rene Rangel Dom, what is the law on suppressors? Suppressors are still unlawful federally. Still unlawful federally. Under state law, they have been removed from the prohibited weapons list. It's like 460, I don't know, 4604, somewhere on there. I don't even know where it's at. I have to look it up again. But it's under chapter 46 of the penal code, very beginning, I think, prohibited weapons. It used to be like number 7. That is no longer there. So suppressors are no longer unlawful in the state of Texas. But they're still unlawful to have or possess federally if you do not have a tax stamp associated with that suppressor. So still unlawful federally. Lyle Smith, thank you very much. Really appreciate you. I look forward to the next one. Tony, thank you, Tony. Appreciate you, man. Pew Pew Barbecue. We'd like to thank them for this wood art that they gave me back here. I got it from these guys here. If you look up Pew Pew Barbecue, if somebody wants to tag them, if you'd like to follow them as well, I really appreciate those guys. They support a whole lot of what I do. And if it wasn't for team members like that, I probably wouldn't be able to do some of the stuff that I do. So thank you very much. Appreciate you, Tony. Thank you so much, man. And Ephraim, man, thank you. Appreciate you. Um, just keep coming back, dude, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So, you guys, thank you so very much. Appreciate all you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. But until then, if you have any requests or have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me, and we'll take care of it. Appreciate you. You guys take it easy. Have a good night. God bless, and remember, keep one in the chamber.